What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Shout out to the Elite Fleet. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can become a member of the Elite Fleet. And we gotta talk about DDG and Halle Bailey again because these kids just won't stop. I don't know who's advising them, specifically really Halle, but I'm gonna say this. I know Holly's not gonna watch this video. Maybe someone who's a friend of a friend of a friend or a cousin will. She needs to stop. She needs to stop. Here's the thing. At this point, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I think DDG has already ruined her career. According to her, that's what he wanted to do. I don't know if that's what he wanted to do or not. To be honest with you, at this point, I think there is some credence to him wanting to do that. But he's pretty much successfully done it. I really don't see Holly bouncing back from this. Her image is completely destroyed. At this point, the only women I really see in her corner still are pretty much 304s, which who wants 304s in their corner? But her image is pretty much destroyed. She would have to rebuild from the ground up at this point. And the problem is, when you're in Hollywood and when you're in the industry, it's easier to take you down than it is someone who's on YouTube. When you're on YouTube, not only do you have diehard followers, because you gotta realize you get a different connection with your fans when you're a streamer, when you're on Twitch and when you're on YouTube and stuff like that. Like, you get to actually talk. Like, nobody talks to Holly. Holly's fans don't talk to her. You know what I mean? Like, Michael B. Jordan's fans don't talk to him, right? Like, you can't just be kicking it, in a live stream and just ask a question and have Michael B like your question and be like, yo, that's a good question. Let me answer your question, or whatever the case may be, or even be that intimate with him. People are intimate with their YouTubers that they follow, right? Even if they don't stream, they leave comments. The YouTuber hearts the comments. He messages back. You have access. You can email the YouTuber, things like that. Like, people actually ride very, very hard for streamers, YouTubers, and social media influencers. A lot harder than they ride for celebrities. I'm just being honest with you. Unless you're a celebrity like Beyonce with the Bayhive, or Taylor Swift with the Swifties, or Rihanna with Riri's Army, or something like that, the average influencer is going to have more support than you, right? Because like I said, at the end of the day, people just don't have the same connection to Holly. Okay, you was the Little Mermaid, but some people have been watching DDG for 10 years, talking to DDG for 10 years, laughing in chats and stuff like that for 10 years. So it's just harder to break that type of loyalty. I haven't even been on YouTube that long. My subscribers ride hard for me, like super hard. And we have a connection, you know what I mean? So it's just harder to build and to break that than it is with the industry. Because with the industry, you can't fix your image. They just throw you out. Beyonce has already cut ties, you know what I mean? Disney's cut ties, so they've kind of just they just throw you out. They don't ride for you. YouTubers ride for you. Like, when this whole situation happened, yeah, India Love standing up for DDG. You had Cooking with Kaya standing up for DDG. Soul Illuminati standing up for DDG. Aiden Ross standing up for DDG. Like, so many people. And, Holly had, Ebony, and she had the women for the most part. Right? But I just think after this, she's just in big trouble. I don't think this was a smart way to handle it, the way she went about this, because it's in DDG's lane. DDG's is going to get more views and more clicks off of this, which is ultimately going to get him more money. You're going to lose more endorsements, more movie roles, and more sponsorships off of this. You're not publicly funded. You're industry funded. And as of right now, you're walking negative press. So if his goal was to ruin Holly, unfortunately, because she, in my opinion, has bad guidance, he has successfully done that. In my opinion, she should have never really filed on DDG. Some of the stuff she filed, I do believe, like I said in my last video, other stuff I think she was exaggerating. But either way, I just didn't think it behooved her to do that. She took it to a mud fight. She took it to like a ratchet level. And now all their business is just out there. And again, DDG is already overexposed. He's a vlogger and a streamer. So his whole life is on the internet anyway. It doesn't affect him. But Holly's entire essence, again, that she needs because she's in the industry, has been completely ruined by this. Like, no one sees Holly as the good girl like that anymore. Like I said, most of the good girls have pretty much washed their hands with her and not even commented on this. And she only has mainly 304s left. So, it's just unfortunate in that sense. But let's get into it, because similar to just like with the DDG situation, I'm going to break down what I think was true, what I think wasn't true, because I don't think DDG is telling 100% truth either, just like I didn't think that Halle was. So let's get right into what DDG has claimed in his countersuit. DDG has filed for an emergency court order to block Halle Bailey from taking their child to Italy. In the filing, he accuses her of repeated threats of self-harm and alarming texts suggesting harm to both herself and the child, attempting to secretly get an abortion while pregnant and later threatening to go through with it unless they get back together. Now listen, I'm going to say this. Do I think she did that? Honestly, probably. Realistically, generally, I'm generally against deleting babies, right? Anyone who watches my content knows that. But in this case, she probably should have just went through with it. she probably should have just went through with it. If you're ever in a situation as a woman, because I do believe that she threatened to do this. I do, because I think everyone in her ear was probably telling her to delete this baby. I've seen women telling her she shouldn't be with DDG, and she's not the one who she should have a baby with. At that time, I was defending DDG, even though it turned out that they were right about DDG not being marriage-minded and not being the time where the person to have a baby with. But either way, I do believe that there were a whole bunch of people in her ear probably telling her to get rid of that baby, which she probably should have done in hindsight, but she didn't. And based upon things she said in text messages, I can 100% believe that she probably did tell him, well, if we get back together, then I won't do it. And based upon what I know of DDG, I can believe that he said he'd get back with her just to make sure he had her son. So, it is what it is. I do agree with that, but I don't see how, at the end of the day, it's her body, her choice. So I don't see how you saying a secret deletion really helps your case in any way, any shape, or form, because she doesn't have to ask you for permission to delete the baby, right, wrong, or indifferent. Either way, let's continue. Taking his gun and leaving the house without explanation while pregnant, he claims he found her outside holding it. I believe she took the gun because of the text messages. I don't know about finding her outside holding it, but, we move. Secretly tracking him with multiple Apple AirTags hidden in cars, a vitamin bottle, the baby's diaper bag, and a box later found in his home. I 1000% believe she did this. This is typical women nut shit. Like, guys, if you've ever been in a relationship with the average woman today, they do nut shit like this all the time. I have so many crazy stories of things that women have done trying to catch me up and stuff and trying to do all types of nutty things. One quick story I'll tell and then we'll move on. There was one time I did, like I told you guys, I do videography for like weddings and stuff outside of making movies if you pay me enough money, right? So if the event's big enough where it's paying enough money, I'll film it, right? So if it's like something at the White House, I'll film it. Like I said, if it's a wedding, I'll film it. If it's a big timer crew who wants to pay to get his video edited, I'll do it, right? And I do that on the side of making movies and on the side of all the other stuff that I do. Well, either way, I filmed the wedding for this couple. And this one woman I was dating found the video that I filmed, right? Went to the couple's page, scrolled through all the people on the couple's page until she found me, right? And then you would think, well, that's the end of it. No, it's not. She then went on my page, went through all my followers, then went on all of my photos and tried to see which women were liking most of my photos. Okay? Then went on the pages of those women, all right, to see where they were at or what they were up to, right? And that rabbit hole just keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper. But either way, she came to me and confronted me with all the information that she was finding. Either way, she found out. She's like, oh, you didn't tell me that you had a YouTube channel and a podcast. And I was like, what the hell would I tell you that for? It's none of your business. And when she told me all the lengths she went through, guys, to find that, I was like, are you serious? Because at the end of the day, it would have never been found if I wasn't the one to be like, oh, yeah, you could check the video out here. That's what started it all. So with that being said, Do I believe that Halle did that? 1,000%. I believe that she did that. 1,000%. You know, that would be on like the lower end of crazy shit that women do. So yeah, I believe she did that. Either way, showing up uninvited to a theater and allegedly trying to fight a woman he was with. I believe she showed up uninvited to the theater. Do I really believe she trying to fight a woman he was with? I don't know. But she did come out and say she was a toxic one and she was a little crazy. So maybe she did. But I definitely believe she showed up uninvited to a theater. I 100% believe that. Physically assaulted him during the argument. Now, this is the big one because he's basically presenting that on the night where Halle alleged that he was abusing her, she was actually abusing him, and all he did was defend himself, and she bruised herself in her attempts to basically harm him. All right, so that's a big one. Either way, physically assaulted him during the argument. He claims she hit him and caused a cut on his hand that she accidentally injured herself during the incident she later described as abuse. DDG is asking the judge to block Halle from taking their child to Italy. He also wants sole legal and physical custody, or if that's not granted, for all custodial exchanges to be handled by a third party. Now I'm going to say this right now. He ain't getting sole legal and physical custody. I don't see that happening. Now I do think they'll probably end up doing joint, most likely in my opinion. Because unless some of this gets found to be not true, now I haven't seen anything so far suggesting that these text messages are fake or anything like that. But unless these things get to be found not true, I ain't gonna lie, this makes Halle look pretty bad. So I can't see them granting her, sole custody if these allegations by DDG is true. Speaking of the text messages, let's get into some of those text messages because we do have them. So apparently we have text messages from March of last year. It starts with, "This is proof. You leave me hanging as a mother." There's a lot of typos in this. Now here's the thing. Some people are thinking the typos make it seem fake. I actually think the typos make it seem more realistic because when a woman is emotionally charged and in her feelings, especially if she caught you cheating, don't expect anything that she's saying to make sense. This is pure emotion, anger, sadness, all at the same time coming out at once. All right? So it actually makes it more believable to me that there are typos in his messages versus them being clear and coherent when you're clearly upset. But either way, "You leave me hanging as a mother. You don't step up when I need you to. I'm begging you. I just found out you're sleeping with Lala in Mexico." Now, from Lala, she means Lala Baptiste. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I 100% think DDG was doing this. He said she's accused me of cheating as if he wasn't doing it. For those of you who don't know, Lala Baptiste, who we've talked about a good amount on this channel, but on top of being fine, Lala was the best friend of Ruby Rose. DDG did plenty of content with Lala Baptiste and Ruby Rose, and at one point, he broke up with Ruby Rose and got with Lala to make Ruby jealous. So, can I believe that he was in Mexico with Lala cheating? Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. If she was in Mexico at a specific time and he was in Mexico at a specific time and they hung out at all, they probably did sleep together. All right? Now, that is important because it's going to give justification for her going off on DDG. Now, it doesn't give justification for her to keep his son away, nor does it give justification for her to threaten harm to herself or any other stuff. Like, clearly something's off, right, with this girl mentally. But it does give justification for why she was upset. So she's not just upset out of nowhere. DDG is a cheating POS. And DDG knew he was never going to marry Halle. And as a result, he should have never gotten her pregnant. And or if he even seen that she had any thoughts of deleting the baby, he should have let her do it. Guys, if a woman ever has any thoughts of deleting the baby, please don't be the one to convince her not to do it. Always just let her do it. I don't give a damn how bad you want that baby. Just let her do it. Unless you're going to take the baby from her and take complete responsibility for it, and you're ready for that, you have the support system, just let her do it. Because if you convince her to keep that baby, and you don't marry her and anything goes wrong, you're not ready to deal with that level of resentment. You're just not. Because it ain't going to be logical, guys. She's liable to do anything. All right? It's a thin line between love and hate, just like the movie. But anyways, let's continue. She says, I'm going to kill myself tonight. Now, this is the part where I said that doesn't justify that. Why would you kill yourself because someone's cheating? Just move on with your life. You know? You don't got to take it all the way there. But clearly, there's a couple of screws loose. Again, unless all these text messages are fake. All right? But, again, is it what I say is unbelievable? Listen, man, I've had women tell me they were going to kill themselves before. Just because I was told them I didn't want to be with them anymore. So, again, I'm not justifying it. I'm just telling you guys, these text messages do not seem fake. Everything happening in these texts seems like something that could realistically happen. All right, anyways, let's continue. My son will not be around for it. I hate you forever. You can have him and let her be his mom. Now, here's my thing. At this point, DDG, if anything, should have just said, okay. Right? He should have said, give me my son, I'll take him. I would not suggest saying she can be his mom, but just give me my son, I'll take him, and we can end this whole thing here. Had DDG just done that, we wouldn't even be making this video right now. None of this stuff would be in the news. He would have just took his son and everything would be over. If you watched my last video, I immediately said in the last video that the minute she started playing games with his son, he should have filed for custody. Right here, she's literally saying, you can take your son. She's saying you can have him right here. So why did you not file right then? My response would have been because he should have took his son anyway, and I said that in another video. If you're going to knock a chick up, and you know you're not going to marry her, and you know you're not going to be with her, then just take your son. Do not leave your son primarily with the women and think you're going to be out here sleeping with other women all the time like la and shit just going to be sweet, because it's not. So this was your opportunity to take your child. So the fact that DDG did not take his child right here just proves my theory from the other video that he never really wanted full custody of Halo in the first place. He just wanted to be able to see Halo whenever he felt like it, to give him back to his mama, have his mama do the doctor's appointments, have his mama change the diapers, have his mama potty train him, have his mama feed him, have his mama basically do 90% of the work of taking care of the child, which is what a lot of you Negroes do, and y'all don't want to admit to it. But I digress. Let's continue. He just goes, I can't believe you're acting like this. He doesn't even mention taking Halo, guys. He just skipped that part and literally says, I can't believe you're acting like this. Well, if you just cheated on her, he also never denied cheating on her, by the way. But if you just cheated on her, or she feels like you cheated on her, or she feels like you're cheating on her, why would you be surprised by how she's acting? Just take your son and then none of it matters, right? The resentment is mainly coming from, you knocked me up. I kept this baby everyone told me to get rid of, right? I messed up my career, put my career on a sidetrack. You didn't marry me, and now you're out here sleeping with other women. And I'm just here with a kid. So I called all L's, and you came up because you got a kid by a Little Mermaid, and you get to make videos about it. I can understand the crash out. Again, to the degree she did, no, but I get it. So then she continues. You put your penis inside of her in Mexico. See what I'm saying, guys? The logic is gone at this point. She's pissed off. You cheated on her. There's not going to be any more logic in this conversation, all right? So then we're going back further. Now we're going back to 2022. And she's telling him to answer the effing phone, right? Then she goes, answer the effing phone again. And she goes, I'm going to try one more time. If you don't answer, it's over forever. Halle is clearly unstable. This is why I said, again, even though I don't believe everything DDG is claiming, there's enough in here to mess Halle up. There's nothing that's been, unless she can prove DDG beat her down, nothing she has done is going to affect DDG's career at all. It's just not, right? Again, YouTube subscribers are very loyal. When you're crowdfunded, these people are very loyal. Halle looks terrible right now. She looks like your stereotypical ratchet, lacking emotional control young woman. That's what she looks like. It's the complete opposite of the good girl image that she spent years building up. But let's continue. Okay? She says, I'm not playing, Daryl. That's it. He says, I just want to be left alone, please. She said, I'm calling for help. I have a knife. Listen. Listen. At this point, it's definitely sounding suicidal. This is a smoking gun, man. The best case scenario for her is that these text messages are fake. Because this is a smoking gun. This is a smoking gun. All right? This looks really bad because, to say I have a knife after you're just saying that's it, and it's over forever, I'm thinking you're just talking about breaking up, but you said you got a knife. So now I got to think you're talking about something completely different. All right, then we go further down. I'm calling for help. But you don't care, do you? Okay. He goes, have a knife for what? All right. So now we're going to go over to the other text messages, right? We're in a different date now. We're in May of last year. I just thought we'd do what I want to do since it's Mother's Day. But if you really want to go, you can. I'll just go home and pack. And then she says, hello. Now listen, man. He says, if you don't come back here, I'm going to call the police. I don't want you to do something stupid. I'm going to give it 5 minutes. You have a son. I know you took my gun. That gun has no safety. Now, this is the second time I'm reading these messages and I'm saying to myself, okay, DDG, if she's acting like this, why didn't you take the kid? I don't want to hear I was trying to protect her image. You could have protected her image by taking the child. Doesn't mean she can't come see the child or get the child whenever she wants to. But you're one, relieving stress so she can get back to her career. Okay, she don't gotta bring him to Italy or nothing. And two, she's saying all this psychotic stuff to you. So why would you want your son just sitting there with a woman who told you at one point she got a knife, and then at this point, this is 2 years after that, by the way, now you're saying she's got your gun. So why would you just be okay with leaving your son there? Once again, for the second time, this shows me that DDG doesn't really give a damn about getting Halo. If these text messages are real, there was more than enough here for you to just go and file for custody and get Halo. So why did you wait until she did it first? And no, I don't want to hear trying to protect her image, because you were already on social media talking about how she won't let you see your son and shit. So you're not trying to protect her image. Again, DDG, and look, I'm a black man myself, but I got to call a spade a spade. He's doing what most black men do, which is I want to be a dad when I want to be a dad. And to give myself an ability to be a dad when I want to be a dad, the mom has to be the primary caretaker. Because if it's me, I don't get to control the situation anymore. And I want control. That's what DDG is doing. Because you could have had your son already if this is the case. Let's continue. So he says, put it down. That's not nothing to play with. Now, if I remember correctly, he said in his original court document that he called her out front with the gun. But I see a text message saying, put it down, there ain't nothing to play with. So, if you see her with the gun, why wouldn't you just go out there and take it? I mean, I guess he might have been worried she was going to shoot him. But, I mean, at that point, then, I don't know, maybe he was worried she was going to shoot him. I could kind of give him a mulligan for that. She then says, this is a different date. This is March, so this is before that happened. She then says, you have ruined me and all my happiness. You hang up when I'm begging for help. You're the only one I used to have. And you're so focused on being famous and having money when you don't even see what's in front of you. I'm telling you guys, I think these text messages are real because I hear girls say this type of shit all the time. You don't even understand what's in front of you, as if they do. But I digress. Anyway, how could you go to Mexico and be with someone else? How could you openly talk shit about me to all your family and all the women you want to sleep with? You want to ruin me and you succeeded. Well, I mean, at this point, yeah, he pretty much did. As much as I hate to say that, he pretty much did. My thoughts on all this, guys, my closing thoughts at least. I think if these text messages are true, Halle definitely needs to get some help. She's a Disney kid. She's been in the industry for a long time. We all know what happened with Disney kids. We know what happens with Nickelodeon's kids. Like, we know what happened in the industry in general. She done probably seen some things, been through some things, and she needs to get some help. All right? She probably been through a Diddy party or two, and she needs to get some help. All right? Allegedly. That's what I'm saying probably. I don't know. But if these text messages are true, the girl needs to get some help. if these text messages are true, the child probably would be better off with DDG having primary custody and her having visitation. But the problem is DDG don't really want that baby. So here's what's going to end up happening. Assuming everything in these text messages are true, I hope that Halle will have the actual ring footage of DDG beating her, because that would be the only thing that would stop her from losing Halo if these text messages are true. All right, that and your typical custodial court female bias, female bias. But the bias ain't high enough for her to get away with this shit. This is a smoking gun. These text messages better be fake, or she better really have that ring camera footage. I'll say that, or I do think she's going to lose this case because, I mean, you've threatened to kill yourself like multiple times in just these couple of text messages you've shown. You know, so that's enough of a smoking gun in my opinion, especially with you taking his gun and stuff like that. You already talked about having a knife. Now, I don't leave much credence to people bringing up that video from when he was on live stream, and I guess she supposedly had a knife because we didn't see the knife. And you know, live streaming is live streaming, so you can't really take it serious. But these are smoking gun text messages. So I hope it's either not true or that Halle has the ring camera footage to kind of balance it out. But, I mean, that doesn't make it any better. I mean, at this point, here's what's most likely going to end up happening. This is probably what should happen, because if Halle has proof that DDG is beating her, both of these people are lunatics. First of all, let me not even say if proof. Both of them are lunatics, all right? In the sense of they're acting, I shouldn't even say lunatics. They're acting like your typical 20-year-olds in a relationship who are in way over their head, all right? Now, I know these guys are in their upper 20s, but they're still in their 20s. As crazy as a lot of this stuff sounds, like I said, guys, be honest with you, I've run into women in my past when I was in my 20s who've said and done a lot of the things that Halle is saying and doing, right? And I'm sure a lot of women who are watching this have ran into men in their past, in their 20s, who've done a lot of things DDG is doing, right? So they're taking it, in my opinion, to an extreme. Like, I ain't, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I could see all of this being the case. You know, I don't think DDG was like beating Halle up because I don't see him as an abuser. But at the same time, if she jumped on him, which she might have done based upon these text messages, maybe he did hit her a few times. I don't know. You know, we'll see what comes out in court. But quite frankly, they both seem like they're very childish, immature, and neither one of them are ready to be parents, in my opinion, right? Unless DDG just completely clears his name and he didn't do any of the abuse. But even if he didn't do any of the abuse, like I told you guys in the last video, I do believe that DDG popped up at her house looking for a dude. You know what I mean? And some of the other stuff she was saying, besides just the abuse, I do believe that he did. DDG's going to get custody if Halle can't prove the thing that she claimed against him. Because even though I do think he's pulling up at the house and stuff like that, I don't think that's enough of a smoking gun to balance out what was said here. I think the only thing that will balance out what he has here is if he actually abused her. So if she has proof of that, it'll probably just end up being a joint custody thing, but that's not a good thing because, like I said, that would just make them both nuts. If she doesn't have proof of that, what's most likely going to happen is DDG is going to win the case at that point. And if DDG wins the case, I just see it being a scenario where grandma's going to be watching the baby. Quite frankly, I don't really see a scenario where that's not going to be the case because Halle already got the boy with a nanny. So either DDG's grandma's going to be watching this baby if he wins the case, or if Halle can't prove her case, or I mean, Holly's going to get the baby and it's going to be with his grandmother on that side and his grandfather and a nanny. But either way, I mean, that might be what's best for Halo at this point, that he's just with DDG's mom and DDG just gets him from time to time from his mother, and Halle gets him from time to time from his mother. To be honest with you, I think it's better to be with your grandmother than to be with a nanny. And I just don't, after seeing all this stuff that both of them have said, I think we're dealing with two very childish, immature people. And I don't think either one of them are ready to have a child, even though they already have a child. I don't think either one of them can properly provide a stable enough environment where a court system should feel comfortable just saying, okay, I can see you taking care of Halo. I don't think either one of them do. So I think that's probably the best case scenario, that he just stays with DDG's grandmother. Because again, I think it would be better to be with your biological grandmother than a nanny. But as long as he's not with Halle or DDG for too long by himself, because at this point neither one of them really seem like they could be trusted. I will say again, unless Halle proves the abuse, she looks way more unstable than DDG. DDG just looks like he's immature, but neither one of them come out of this looking very good. And I just come out of this thinking, okay, we'll see who's telling the truth and who's not. But at this point, I honestly be more comfortable for the child to be with his grandmother at this point. You know, Halle doesn't have the time anyway, so just let him be with his grandmother. You know, or let him be with her grandmother, one of the grandparents. All right, he don't need to be with no damn nanny, and he don't need to be with you two maniacs. So that's my thoughts of it right now. Before we get any actual proof of what happened, y'all, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I am Alex, and I am out. Peace.